the PowerPoint slide. Can see everybody, yeah? All right. So the final assessment for this unit is called as the online final assessment. And the assessment will be conducted on 20th July, which is Wednesday. Okay. And it's going to start at 1 o'clock until 3 o'clock Malaysian time. Okay. But because some of the students may have some technical issue or what, so the students are allowed to start slightly late. Okay, you may start after 1, but in order to enjoy full 120 minutes or 2 hours of the final assessment, the latest time for you to start the assessment should be 1:30. Okay, if you start at 1:30, then you can finish at 3:30. If you start at 1:45, then the system will just only allow you to finish at 3:30. Yeah, the system will stop to let you continue to attempt the remaining questions. So make sure that you try to start the online assessment before 1:30 lah. Better start early. All right, better start early. Okay, the duration of the assessment is 2 hours, or we call it 120 minutes. Okay, so for the assessment, okay, this assessment, you have to get ready a calculator. You may need a calculator. So try to get a calculator whereby you are familiar with. And you already know how to use those functions. And this assessment is worth 50% from your overall marks in this semester for this unit. So it's very high. 50% is very high. Okay. And the assessment consists of 40 questions in total. 40 questions. Okay. Bear in mind, these 40 questions here include those sub-questions, because some of the questions, like for instance, the hire purchase agreement question may consist of 3 parts, let's say. Then that means this will be 3 questions. So overall, it will be 40 questions. 40 question means include the main and also the sub-questions. And 1 question worth 1 mark. So that means total marks for this assessment is 40 marks. Okay, and then the system will have to convert to 50%. So when you attempt the assessment, right, after you attempt all the questions, remember to submit the online assessment by pressing the submit quiz button. Remember, okay, to do so. Okay, then what are the topics will be covered then? Okay, all of the topics that we have learned throughout the whole semester will be covered for this online assessment. All will be covered. Okay, that includes the chapter 1, the statistics, which include the data analysis, computer application. Chapter 2 of probability. Chapter 3, financial mathematics. We have 2 parts. Part 1 is on the commission and also the supply chain, which include the discounts, the selling price, profit and loss. Make sure that you know how to do the calculation. And the part 2, we have the simple interest and compound interest. Then chapter 4, we have the basic arithmetic and algebraic modeling. Chapter 5 is on the how to form the linear equation. Make sure that you know how to form the linear equation, how to solve the problems that involve 2 linear equations simultaneously in order to get the x and y value. And the lastly is how to apply the simultaneous equation concept into the break-even analysis to identify the break-even level of production and also the break-even level of income. Okay. Then lastly is matrix topic. Make sure that you know how to do the plus, minus, multiplication activities of matrices and also the adverse matrix. So this will be covered, right? So for last chapter matrix, because this chapter will have not been tested for any of the assessments. So for this chapter, there will be 4 questions come up, okay, during the final exam. 4 questions from this chapter. Okay. So how to do revision here? Okay, I have prepared the, okay, before that, okay. Okay, so how to assess the online assessment? Okay, the online assessment, the location will be like this, okay? So if on the actual day, on the 20th of July, if you want to assess the final assessment, you can just go to Canvas site and then go to modules. All right, then scroll down. So it should be here, okay? This is a special module for this. So on Tuesday, the reason why the student could not access the online test is because I did not publish it. So So that's why you could not access. So yeah, ensure that this time, okay, this final assessment will be published on that day. Okay, and if you have any technical issue, you can contact me either using this Microsoft Teams, okay, or you can just email me, or you can just call me, or just visit my office physically. I think better use the Microsoft Teams, okay, or you can just email me if you got any technical problem to access the final assessment. Just like Pushti, I think Pushti and Bernice also contacted me on Tuesday afternoon. Okay, so these are all about the final assessment format. Okay, so how to do revision? Okay, so I have prepared the summary for all of the chapters. So these are the important information that you need to know, okay, in order to cope with this final assessment. Okay, so maybe you can just simply go through. All right, chapter 1. For chapter 1, you need to know the nature of the data. All right, so generally there are two types of data. Either it's qualitative or quantitative data. You must know how to differentiate these two types of data. Right. So qualitative data usually are non-numbering, non-numerical data usually, not really involve number. Even though involve number is also used to categorize the object of your study only. It's not able to quantify, but it's only able to characterize or differentiate the object. Okay. So the qualitative data will be like this. Okay, it can be color, green, white, blue is considered as qualitative data. Smell, okay, aromatic, all these also smelling good smell, all these also qualitative data. Fragrant smell. Name is also considered as qualitative data. Okay. On the other hand, quantitative data are usually numerical data. Okay, and this data can be used to quantify the study object or person. Okay, and from this quantitative data, we can even further divide or categorize the quantitative data into two types, which are discrete quantitative data and continuous quantitative data. Discrete data means the data that you can only obtain by counting. You can count something in order to get the value, right? Like number of students in the class, number of cars along the roadside. Okay, so you may find that all these discrete data are whole number. Okay, usually are whole numbers. It's not continuous decimal number, but it's whole number. Okay. On the other hand, continuous quantitative data are the data that you need to use certain machine or tool in order to get the answer or to measure it. You need some tools or machine. Okay. Like for instance, if you want to know temperature of the room, okay, temperature of the room, you need to use thermometer. If you want to know height of a student, you need to use probably some ruler or measurement tape to measure the height of student. Right? You want to know weight of an object, you need to use probably some scaling machine in order to identify the weight. If you want to know the time, you may need to use clock, right, to measure the time. Okay, so the result that will get will be the quantitative continuous data. Usually the continuous data are the data whereby you have decimal number, okay, or continuous decimal number. So far so good, So in the exam, maybe there are some questions that will test your understanding on this. Okay. Okay, then second part of chapter 1 is on the descriptive measurements, right? Which consists of like mean, mode, median, first quartile, third quartile, standard deviation, variance, skewness, coefficient of variation. Okay, these are called as the descriptive statistics measurement. Okay, so in order to answer this type of question, you must identify the nature of the data that you have, whether it's ungrouped or group data. Why? Because you are going to use we call as the correct formula in order to measure each type of descriptive statistics. Okay, so let's say If ungroup data means the raw data that has not been classified into classes. If that's the case, if you want to identify the location of median, you have to use the formula of m plus 1 divided by 2, right? Plus 1 for the ungroup data. On the other hand, if you want to identify the location of median for group data, you need to use total f divided by 2. So the formula to identify the location for median is different for ungroup and group data. So make sure that the first thing is you need to read the question. Okay, check whether this question provide the row data or group data. Right? Then the next step is identify the correct formula in order to calculate the correct measurement. Okay. For group data, make sure that the boundary class is used. Why boundary class? Boundary class is used so that we can identify the class size. When you calculate either the mod, the median, first quartile, third quartile, the class size is using the upper boundary minus lower boundary. Okay, if you want to get the mod value, you need to use the upper boundary minus lower boundary of the mod class in order to get the C value, which is the class size. Okay, so make sure that you use the boundary class, not the interval class. Use the boundary class. Very important. Okay. Okay, another one is you should also have something in your mind when you want to calculate the descriptive measurement. Like for instance, mean value for group data, let's say. If you want to get the mean value for group data, what are the columns you need to get ready in order to get the mean value? Anybody? Can you recall what are the columns when you build the table, right? To calculate the mean value, what are the columns that you need in order to get the mean value? Anybody?
Frequency.
Frequency, correct. Yeah, but good. I think it's Brian, right?
Frequency and midpoint.
Midpoint, correct. Yeah. What is the symbol we use to represent frequency?
F.
F, correct. Yeah. And then midpoint?
X.
X, right? So how to get the X value? How to get the midpoint for each class? What is the formula? Midpoint. How to get the midpoint?
The lowest, the lowest plus the highest divided by 2.
Okay. Yeah, correct. Yeah, good. Make sure that you use the boundary class, the upper boundary plus the lower boundary value, for each class divided by 2, right? Correct. Yeah. Okay. So we already have F and X. What else? Any other column you need besides the F column and X column? Frequency, midpoint. Yep. Correct. Any more column? One more column we require in order to get the mean. What is the column? We need one more column. Yeah. Yes. FX column, right? Yeah. So we also need FX column in order to get the mean value because we need the total FX for the numerator of the mean formula. Okay. So we need the frequency column, X column. X is the midpoint column, and then lastly is the FX column. Okay. Okay. Then how about variance and standard deviation? Beside the FX column, we need another column in order to get the variance or standard deviation.
Fx square.
Yes, Fx square. Okay, we need additional column which is Fx square in order to calculate the variance or standard deviation so that we can replace the Fx square value to here. Okay. Bear in mind, the data that we have, we call as the sample data. For group data or ungroup data, at our syllabus, we're only using the sampling data. As a result, you may find that we have to use total F minus 1. Total F minus 1 when we calculate the variance or standard deviation. We use minus 1. The reason is because we treat the data that we collected as sampling data only. We only collect sample data. Just like, okay, if for your project, you collect 50 sample data for, let's say, to measure the height of students, right? We only collect 50 sample data instead of collecting 3,500 data from the whole population of student. So as a result, we use minus 1 when we calculate the variance or standard deviation. Here, you see, minus 1, because we assume the data that we have are sampling data. Okay. Besides knowing how to calculate the descriptive measurement, we must also know how to elaborate the value. What is the meaning of the value that we obtain? let's say skewness, SKP. Let's say we get positive number. Okay. Let's say we get SKP greater than 0, let's say. Okay, there are two ways for us to elaborate the value when the SKP is 0. Anybody? Do you know how to interpret the value if the SKP is greater than 0? If greater than 0, what can I conclude?
If it's more than 0, then the data is skewed to the right. The data is more to the right.
Okay. Okay. If the SKP is greater than 0, the data distribution is skewed to the right, right? Okay. Yeah. Any other terminology we can use besides saying that skewed to the right? Any other terminology we can use?
Positively skewed.
Yeah, positively skewed. So you can say the data distribution is skewed to the right, or the data distribution is positively skewed. Okay. So similarly, also if the SKP is less than 0, you can say that the data distribution is skewed to the left, or the data distribution is negatively skewed. Make sure that you know how to interpret the value, because some question may ask you the meaning. Okay. So these are all about chapter 1. Okay, chapter 2 now. I think chapter 1, most of the students no problem, because we already gone through the project. Okay, chapter 2 is about probability, and I think some of the questions the students still confused. Maybe you can discuss the question later on by going through the test 1 question. Okay, so for probability, what are the formula that you need to know? Okay, generally, okay, the most frequent used formula is only this. If you want to calculate the probability of event A happen, you just need to use number of elements from set A divided by number of elements from the set semester. That means from the overall sample space. Okay, so bear in mind, your probability value must always be between 0 to 1 only. Cannot be negative, cannot greater than 1. This is the way to answer. If you want to calculate probability none A, what can you do is you can apply this formula. Okay, probability none A is equal to 1 minus probability A. It's because, what is the reason? It's because probability A plus probability none A is always equal to 1. Okay, 100%. Okay, so in order to get probability of none A, you just need to use PA, 1 minus PA in order to get the answer. Okay, so next is the union concept, union rule. Union rule, okay, union usually we use U to represent union. Okay, or we can use the symbol or. Or in statistics means union. Okay, so if you want to calculate probability A union B, then the formula is equal to probability A plus probability B minus probability A intersect B. So this formula is applicable to any relationship of A and B. No matter what is the relationship between A and B, whether it's dependent, independent, mutually exclusive between A and B, we always use the same formula to calculate the A union B. Okay, this is the only formula to calculate A union B, no matter what is the relationship between A and B. Okay, it's fun, okay. So far, okay, all right. Then next is, okay, in this chapter also we have studied quite a number of relationship between two events. Okay, so the first one is mutually exclusive events. So if A and B do not happen at the same time, or A and B do not have similar elements, then we can conclude A and B are mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive means two events cannot happen at the same time, or two events do not have similar elements. Then what is the important characteristics of mutually exclusive events? If there's a case like probability A intersect B is always equal to 0. Okay. Just like, okay, you may ask then in the real life, any mutually exclusive events that cannot happen at the same time. Maybe the example can be swimming and attempt online exam, right? Swimming and attempt online exam cannot happen at the same time, because you need to access the internet computer and do the questions, right? And then cannot swim at the same time. So these two events are mutually exclusive. Okay. If there is a case, you may find that, right, when you want to calculate probability A union B, for this part here, if the A and B are mutually exclusive, you may find that this part is equal to 0 for mutually exclusive events. Okay. Okay. Next event will be independent events. What is the meaning independent events? That means occurrence of one event is not going to affect the chance of another event happen. So if A and B are independent, that means the chance of A happen is not going to affect the chance of B to happen, and vice versa as well. So if there's a case, you may find that property A intersect B is equal to property A multiplied property B. Okay? And property A, given that B already happened, is still equal to A because A is not affected by B. Okay. Similarly, also, if you want to calculate property B, given we use the slash symbol, given that A already happened, our answer is still equal to B because B is not affected by A. Okay, even though we know that A already happened, the result is still equal to property B. Okay, so this formula only applicable when A and B are independent events. Also, now you may ask, then what are the examples in the real life that involve independent events? Example can be throwing 2 coins. Okay, throwing 2 coins at the same time. Throwing 2 dice at the same time are considered as 2 independent events because the result of first dice will not affect the result of the second dice. Let me see whether I have dice now. Right, so throwing the first dice is the first event. Second event is throwing another dice again. So the result for first dice will not affect the result of second dice. So these 2 events are considered as independent events. Okay. Another example would be choosing 2 balls 1 by 1 from a box with replacement. Okay, with replacement. If there's a case, that means that the first ball result is not going to affect the chance to select the ball from the box. So the first ball result will not affect the second ball result. Second ball result also not affect the first ball result. So this is also considered as independent events. Okay. So last one is dependent events. Dependent events means occurrence of event A is going to affect the chance for event B to happen. And similarly, also B is also going to affect the chance of event A to happen as well. And then we conclude this as a dependent event. So what are the important characteristics? Okay, important character, or we call it as the formula, will be property A, given that B already happened, you may find that the answer is equal to property A intersect B divided by property B. Okay, because A is affected by B, so we need to use B as the denominator. Okay, determined by B now for A to happen. Okay, this is the formula. Yeah. So similarly, also if you want to get B given that A, what you can do is you can use B intersect A divided by property A. Okay, so bear in mind, A intersect B is the same meaning as B intersect A. The purple color, this part, is equal to the red color, this part. Same meaning. Okay. But however, A given B is not always equal to B given S. Different meaning. This one and this are different thing, right? So bear in mind. Okay, sometimes the question may ask you to calculate probability A intersect B for dependent event question. So what you can do is you can just transpose the formula, transpose this formula by moving PB to the left-hand side becomes multiply, right? So you'll get this. Okay, so let us try some of the questions in your online test 1 on this chapter. Okay, let me go to test 1. Okay, you should be able to access the question and also the answer. Okay, the correct answer for online test 1 and test 2. Either by using your handphone or by using your computer. Okay, maybe we can choose those probability questions. Okay, we go for the basic one first. This one. Okay, I copy this question, all right? I paste to the Microsoft Word now. So that you can see, because I use a bigger font size. Where is the question? Okay, copy one more time. Okay. So this question only involves one event. A box consists of 2 yellow cards, 3 red cards, and 5 white cards. What is the probability of getting a black card from the box? What is the answer?
0.
Is there any black card? Huh? Pardon?
0.
Answer is 0. Huh? Yeah. Why? What is the reason?
There is no black card in the box.
Yes, because there is no black cards in the box, right? Because the box has only 2 yellow cards, 3 red cards, and 5 white cards. There is no black cards in the box. So that means the chance to get 1 black card is 0. Okay, answer is equal to 0. Okay. Okay, next question. This one, okay, let us analyze the question. This one is a coin is tossed 3 times. Tossed 3 times can be also equivalent to throwing 3 coins at the same time. Same meaning. Okay. Okay. So a coin is tossed 3 times. That means that this includes 3 activities. There are 3 events or 3 activities in this question here. Okay. So that means that throwing the first coin is considered as first event. Second event is throwing the second coin, right? And then third event is throwing the coin one more time, or the third coin. Right? It's considered as third event. So for this question, there are 3 events involved, right? And these 3 events are considered as independent events. Okay, independent events. Why do we say independent events? Because the result of throwing the first coin will not affect the result of throwing the second coin, and also will not affect the result of throwing the third coin. Okay, so these 3 events will not affect the result among each other. So we can conclude the activities or the event of this action are independent events. Okay, so that means we need to use the independent event probability concept to answer this question. Okay. Okay, so this question is looking for what? Find the probability of getting more than 1 head. Okay, so before we answer this question, let's use the symbol to represent the face of the coin. All right, so we know that a coin consists of 2 faces. Right, we have the head and also the tail. So probably we can use H to represent head and T to represent tail. Okay, and after that we can also try to check first. So in total, okay, if we throw the coin 3 times, then what are the possible outcomes? What are the possible outcomes? We need to know first, right? So how to identify the possible outcomes? We have to use, okay, we know that 1 coin has 2 faces. So we put 2 here, okay? 2 as the base number because 1 coin has 2 faces, right? Okay, then we power with 3. What's the reason we power with 3? Because we want to throw this coin 3 times. So power 3. Okay, so 2 power 3, you'll get 8. So that means there'll be 8 possible outcomes. When we throw 3 coins, there'll be 8 possible combination result for throwing 3 coins. Okay, so okay, maybe you can also list down then what are the possible 8 results. Okay, or we call it as the sample space. So the first result can be all of the 3 coins will show head. I put here H, H, H. Or it can be the first coin is head, second coin also head, third coin is tail, or H, T, H, T, H, H, or maybe all of the coins will show tail, right? Or T, T, H, T, H, T, H, T, T. So altogether will be 8 possible outcomes. Okay. So now we can start to answer the question now. Find the probability of getting more than 1 head. We need to translate this sentence into a mathematical equation. So that means this question is looking for P brackets more than 1 head. Okay, more than 1 head. Because we know that this question is involving 3 coins. So that means the NS is always equal to 8. Okay, so this 8 here is because we know that the top is involved 3 coins. Okay, so it's 8. So confirm the denominator is equal to 8. Okay, how about numerator? Numerator is depends on how many combinations fulfill this criterion. fulfill this requirement, more than one head. So let us check. Okay, this combination has 3 heads, so that means more than one. Okay, except, okay, this is one of the combination. This combination has 2 heads, also more than one. Okay, except this one also 2 heads. Okay, yeah. This one also 2 heads. Okay, this one has no head, 0 head, so it's not fulfill the requirement. Out. This one only 1 head, but the question would like to have more than one. That means at least 2. More than one means at least 2. But this combination has only 1 head, so out. This one also 1 head, out. This one 1 head, out. So you may find that only 4 combinations fulfill the requirement. So we put here 4. Okay. Then we simplify. This fraction number becomes 1/2. Can leave the answer in decimal number becomes 0.5. Okay, so in order to answer this type of question, you need to list down the possible sample space, or we call as the possible outcomes, in order to answer this question. Okay, so this question is considered as 3 independent events question. Okay, the next question is also involve independent events. That will be 2 dice. Okay, this one we can go through also. It's also important. Okay, so this question is 2 dice are tossed. What is the probability that the sum is more than 7? Okay, so before we answer this question, we need to identify what are the possible outcomes. Okay, how many possible outcomes for this experiment? Okay, this question is involved 2 dice. Okay, throw 2 dice. So that means it's involved 2 independent events, 2 independent activities. That means the result of the first dice is not going to affect the result of the second dice and vice versa. Okay, so in order to answer this question, it's better for us to identify first what are the possible outcomes. So how to identify? Because we know that one dice has 6 faces. Okay, so we put 6 here, and then they'll involve 2 dice. That means throw 2 dice, or throw a dice 2 times. Same meaning. So that means the power you have to put 2. Okay, so in this case, there will be 36 possible outcomes for this experiment that involve 2 dice. There will be 36 possible outcomes or result. Okay, then we have to list down first the 36 possible outcomes. We have to list down. Okay, so it's time consuming. If the question asked again in the final exam, you need to list down the possible 36 outcomes. Right? Okay, next step is we need to translate this question into a mathematical equation. So that means this question is looking for probability. The total score of dice 1 and dice 2 is more than 7. Sum is more than 7 means if you sum up the score of dice 1 and score of dice 2, you'll get a value which is more than 7. Okay, so let us try to check. Okay, we check from here. This one is 1 plus 6. 1 plus 6 is equal to 7 exactly. But the question one more than 7. So 7 is still less than the requirement. This one is more than 7. Okay, so if equal to 7 cannot accept. So this is out. Okay, so go for this. 2 plus 6, 8. 8 is more than 7. Yes, include this combination. Okay, this combination fulfill the requirement. Then we continue. So you may find that those combinations that I have highlighted with red form, these are the possible combinations. So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 15 altogether fulfill the requirement. So I put here 15 as the numerator. Okay. Denominator is because NS is equal to 36 is from here. Okay, so we put 36 here. Simplify, you'll get 5/12. Okay, independent event questions. Okay, next question. This is also from your test. It's from your test 1. Okay, I start with without. Okay, I use with first. Okay, let's say I start with with. Okay, let's say this is the question. Okay, so there are 3 good bugs and 2 defective bugs in the box. Okay, and 2 bugs are randomly selected 1 by 1 from the box. With replacement, what is the probability of choosing 2 good bugs? Okay, so we start from the first sentence. Okay, inside the box there are 3 good bugs and also 2 defective bugs. So from this sentence here, I try to use a symbol to represent the characteristics of the bug in the box. So I use A to represent good bug. B is to represent the defective bug. Defective bug means not good, not good condition, right? So I can conclude number of good bugs is equal to 3, number of defective bugs is equal to 2, right? So the total number of bugs inside the box consists of 5. Okay. Total number of bugs, altogether we have 5. Okay. Now we can answer the question now, yeah? Okay. 2 bugs are randomly selected one by one from the bugs with replacement. What is the meaning? This sentence, with replacement, very important. What is the meaning of replacement? That means like after choosing the first bug, okay, you can jot down, okay, the condition of the bug, right? Okay, but this bug, right, have to be replaced, will be returned. You need to return the bug to the box, okay? And then you choose the second bug again. Jot down the characteristics of the bug, and then return the bug inside the box again. And this is called as replacement, okay? Replacement means after choosing a bug, the bug will be returned inside the box before choosing the second bug. That's the meaning of replacement. If that is the case, that means like choosing the first bug and choosing the second bug events are considered as independent events. Independent events. Why? Because the result of the first bug is not going to affect the result of the second bug. Okay. Independent events for this question. Okay. So now we can start to answer the question. Okay. What is the probability of choosing? Okay, I need to okay, let me respond to the I ought to respond to the telephone. I think it's somebody called. Okay, let me just respond. Okay. All right, so we can start now. Okay, all right. So this question is looking for probability of 2 good bugs. So that means all of the bugs chosen are good one. So I use A1, A2. Okay. So we have to start from the first event. Okay. What is the probability if the first bug chosen is in good condition? Maybe this one I delete first. All right. Then I'll do later. We start from first bug, right? First bug. Okay, if we choose 1 here. Okay, what is the probability? The bug is with good condition. Okay, the numerator we have to use 5, right? Because in total there are 5 bugs. Okay. Then numerator we have to use 3 because inside the box there are 3 good bugs. So answer is 3/5 for choosing the first bug which is good condition. Now we have to move to second bug result. Okay, so I use another one. Create another symbol. Okay. So bear in mind, before we choose the second bug, we have returned the first bug inside the box. We already returned. So what is the probability that the second bug is also in good condition? Answer is 3/5 as well. Right? 3/5. Why? Because when we choose the bug, right, second time, right, the total number of bugs inside the box is still equal to 5, right? And the total number of good bugs in the box is still equal to 3. Yeah? So this is the result for the second event for choosing good bug. Okay, then now we have to simplify. Okay, bear in mind because both of the bugs chosen all are with the same characteristics. So as a result, we should only count 1 time. Okay. So some students may ask, can we do like this? Can we do like this? Should the answer be like this? Answer is no. We should not add like this. Okay. Some students ask, can we do like this? No need. Okay, like this is no need. Why? Because both of the box chooses have the same characteristics. So we only count 1 time. Okay, we only count 1 time. So no need to plus A2, A1 anymore. No need. Unless The question is asking what is the probability of choosing one good bug and one defective bug. Then we need to use A1, B2, and then B1, A2 lah. All right. But for this question, no need because both bugs chosen have the same characteristics. Yeah. So only count one time. Okay. So simplify this. You'll get 9/25. Yeah. So far so good, huh? Okay. How about if I change this word only? I change this to without. I change this to without. Without replacement now. What is the meaning? If without replacement, that means like after choosing the first bug, right? The first bug is not going to be returned inside the box, huh? And then we'll choose the second bug. After choosing the second bug will also not be returned inside the box. If that's the case, what is going to happen? You may find that the second bug result is depends on the result of first bug. Okay? Without replacement means the result of the second bug is depends on the result of first bug. So that means like this will involve the dependent events. Dependent events already. Yeah. This question now is becomes dependent events. Okay. So how to solve the problem now? If there is a case, this is going to change. Okay? This will get affected. The first event still okay, but the second event result will get affected because the first bug chosen is not returned inside the box. So this is going to affect the second bug result. Okay, so what is the probability that the second bug is in good condition? Okay, we start from the denominator. Denominator. Okay, how many bugs now inside the box? How many total of bugs inside the box when we choose the second bug? In total, how many bugs inside the box? So this question is like this. Let's say now we have five bugs. The red one represent not good, defective. Right? The blue one means good. Right? 5 bugs. Right? So what is the probability of choosing 2 good bugs? 2 good bugs means okay. The first one is okay. Randomly choose. Okay, I choose this. All right. So for the first draw, how many bugs inside? There are 5, right? So the denominator for the first withdrawn is 5. Okay. Numerator is 3 is because inside the box there are 3 good bugs. Yeah. So answer is 3. Okay. Now the first bug that I choose is good, right? So I'm not going to return. I just put outside the box. Okay. Now I'm going to choose second bug now. Choose. Okay. So what is the probability? You choose the second bug is also in good condition. Answer is equal to. This one should be 4, yeah? For the second bug, when you choose the second bug, right? In total, there are only 4 bugs inside the box. Because the first bug that we choose is outside the box, which is good condition. Okay, then how about the numerator? For the second bug that we choose. How many good bugs? Yeah, 2 only, right? Because only 2 bugs. So we put here 2. Okay, then we simplify. Simplify this. This one is 1/2. So answer is equal to 3/10. Okay. 3/10 or 0.3. Okay. So make sure that you have to be sensitive with the question whether it's with replacement or without replacement. Be careful during the final exam. Okay. Okay. Next question is a joint property table question. So let us analyze. All right. So let's say this joint property table is given. Okay. Okay. Now you're asked to calculate. Okay. If you choose one student randomly, in total there are 51 students in the class. All right. And this student can be classified into gender and also the accounting level, and also the gender. Yeah. These are the two variables. Okay. In total, there are 51 students. So now, as soon as you choose one student randomly, what is the probability that the student is a male or a senior? Okay, so in statistics, all means union, all right? All means union. So how are we going to translate this sentence into a mathematical equation? So this one means probability, male, okay, union S. So what is the formula we have to use? Remember the formula that we learned just now? We need to use this formula when involve union. We need to use this formula, okay? So we modify this formula and then paste to here. All right, so we start from M and then S and then minus M intersect S. Okay, so you have to solve this problem. How to calculate probability M? Okay, we need to go to the male column. Check what is the total male student? 24. Okay? So the answer is 24 over 51, which is the probability M value. Okay, PS is senior. Senior means this one. So we have to go to this row. Check in total how many senior students? 14 of them out of 51. So put here. Okay. This one, how to get M intersect S? M intersect S. Okay, we have to go to the M column and then go to the senior row and then check the intersection cell, which is 8. Okay, this is the intersection cell between male and senior, which is 8 students. So I put here 8 divided by 51. Okay, so since the denominator for the three terms are similar, we can combine all the numerator now. It's equal to 30. Okay, 30 over 51. Okay, last question for probability. This one. It's also joint probability table. So let's say this table is given, whereby the students can be categorized based on gender and also the preference ring among the students. All right. So this question is looking for what is probability a male is selected given that he likes T. So this is a very keyword, important keyword here. Given. Given, we have to use the symbol slash. Okay, the slash symbol to represent given. Given means if. We need to use slash symbol. Okay. And this male appears, this word male appears before given. So we have to put male in front. Okay. Given that he likes T. Okay, because this T appears after given. So T we have to put at the back. Put here. Okay, at the back. Because this word T appears after given. So the whole question means this. Okay. Because this question is involved conditional question. Okay. And the gender and preference ring are called as they are dependent and depend each other. The gender and also the preference ring, in fact, are dependent events, right? If there's a case, we need to apply the dependent events formula. We need to use this formula when the question is involved conditional probability. Okay, using this. So you copy this and then apply to here. Okay. So since this T is at the back, you have to put T at the denominator level. Okay, because it's dependent on T. So put T at the back. Okay, then the next step is to solve this expression one by one. Okay, we start from numerator, this part. M intersect T. M intersect T, how to get the value? We have to go to the male row, intersect with T. This is a T column. So the intersection cell is 13. So we need to substitute 13 to here as the numerator. Okay. 13, but don't forget because it's overall is 85. So you can put over 85, right? 13 over 85. Okay. Then how about here? Denominator PT. PT means probability to get a student who like to drink tea, prefer tea. So how many of them? 21 in total out of 85. So you have to put here 85. So we may found that this 85, okay, appears on the numerator and also the denominator. So we can cancel out these two 85 can be cancelled out. Delete, no more. So the final answer is equal to 13 over 21. Okay. So, okay, these are the questions that will be asked during the final exam for probability questions. Okay, then we'll move on to chapter number 3. Okay, number 3 we have two parts. The first part is test of understanding on commission received by the salesperson. And then second part is on the supply chain product distribution. And whereby you need to know how to calculate the discount, net price, markup price, selling price, percentage profit. Okay, and these are the important variables that you need to know. Okay, maybe we can go for a few questions on this. Okay, this question is involve 3 discounts. That means more than 1 discount, right? And this is the list price. That means the original price, and got discount. So you're asked to calculate the net price. That means after the discount price. Because it's involved more than 1 discount, what can you do is you can just simply apply this formula that you learn, right? This formula. So it's using the list price multiply with 1 minus discount rate, and then multiply with 1 minus second discount rate, and then multiply with 1 minus third discount rate. Then you can get the net price directly. Okay. Okay, then next question is on thank you. This also quite a number of students ask the question. So let us analyze the question first. So this question is, Charles bought a Japanese brand of water heater from thank you at this price. Okay. So what is the meaning of this sentence? So that means like this is the selling price. Okay, that had to be paid by customer after all the discount. And this is the selling price. Okay, so I put here selling price after discount. 758. Okay, and this price is the after discount price after deduction of 20%. Okay, so you get this. Okay, now the question is asking, then what is the markup price for this water heater? That means what is the original price that's supposed to be offered to Charles? Yeah, suppose what is the original price that suppose Charles had to pay to thank you? Okay, that is the question. So in order to answer this question, I think the best way is to just form the equation first. We know that, okay, this is the selling price, right? Selling price is this value. Which is, okay, so for answer this question, it's better for us to do in this way, using the cross multiplication activity. Yeah? So we know that the mark price is equivalent to 100%. Okay, it's the 100% price. And the selling price is 80% of the price, 80% only. Right? How to get 80%? 80% is because deduct 20% discount. So that means selling price is equivalent to 80%, right? And markup price is equal to 100%, right? If that is the full amount that had to be paid by customer if without discount. Okay. Then the next step is, what can we do is, we can substitute the selling price value here. This is one way to show the workings, okay. So this one is 758.4. So what can we do is we can do the cross multiplication activity in order to get the markup price. Markup. So what can we do is we can just move this 758.4 to the right hand side, becomes multiply. So the answer is 100%. Multiply with 758.4 divided by 80%. Okay, then we can simplify this one. This one can be simplified. If you can get the answer directly if you want using calculator, right? So 100% means 1. 100% means 1. So anything multiplied with 100%, you'll get the same thing back. 80% means 0.8. Before you get 900 something, 958 or 48. Okay, so this is one way for you to get the answer. Maybe you have other method to identify the value for markup price. Okay, now we'll move to part B. Part B is to what is the cost price? That means calculate the cost price. This is the cost price of SenQ. That means how much SenQ purchased from the wholesaler. How much SenQ purchased from the wholesaler. Okay. If SenQ is managed to get 40% profit by selling the goods of the heater, 40% discount, 40% profit can be gained by SenQ. Okay. Then what is the cost price? Okay. If this is the selling price, so what is the cost price? So in order to answer this question, you have to go back to your formula list. You may have found that the most suitable formula will be this one, right? Because percentage profit is 40%, selling price is 758.4, and you're asked to get the cost price. So this formula is most suitable formula to be used. If you are using this formula, that means we do not need the information for discount anymore. Discount information you can just ignore. No need to be it's not applicable for part B. Okay, if you are using this formula, so we copy this formula to solve the problem for part B. This formula, right? Okay, so let us try to substitute the number into each variable. Percentage profit is given 40%, so put here. Selling price is from here, put here, minus CP divided by CP multiplied 100%. Okay, so 40% we know that is equal to 0.4. 100% means 1. Anything multiplied with 100%, you'll get the same thing back. This is 1. Okay, then the next step is we need to minimize the label of the equation. Okay, now we have two labels on the right hand side, so we need to minimize, becomes one label only. So what can we do is we can multiply this CP with 0.4 on the left hand side. Okay, so you get this. The next step is we may find that because this is minus CP, this is positive 0.4 CP. So it's better to move this minus CP to the left hand side so that we can combine the CP and then leave the CP in the positive number, positive coefficient. Okay, so if we move the minus CP, it becomes plus 1 CP, becomes 1.4 CP. Then lastly, move 1.4 to the right hand side. Okay, it becomes divided by 1.4 and simplify, you get the cost price. So that means for part B, if you apply this formula, we do not need the discount information at all. We only need the selling price and the percentage profit information. Okay. Okay. Then we'll move on to the second part of financial mathematics, whereby we already learned simple interest and compound interest. All right. So simple interest means the interest calculation is based on principal only. But for compound interest, the interest calculation is based on principal plus the accumulated compound interest earned from period to period. So this is the only difference between these two types of interest calculation. Okay, so let us try one question. This question, all right. Okay, let us analyze the question together. So this question is, Cynthia purchases a new model of Honda HR-V priced at this, and she paid the deposit of 20% of the car and loan the remaining amount from the bank for 5 years with a flat means interest, simple interest rate, right, of 3.5% per annum. Okay, so before we answer this question, we need to get some information from here. Okay, it's better for us to get some information. Okay, so in fact, right, from this question here, this is the cash price. Okay, this, in order to buy the car by using cash, and this is the cash price, right? So I put your cash price. Cynthia is not going to pay cash in lump sum at the to Honda. Okay, no, cannot. Okay, so in order to settle this problem, she tried to borrow money from bank. But how to do so? That is, she tried to pay the deposit. Pay the deposit of 20% of the car to Honda first. Then the remaining, she will go to borrow from bank through loan. All right. And the loan will charge Cynthia for flat rate of 3.5%. So that means the loan is using the simple interest rate. Okay, so this question is using simple interest rate, and the duration of the loan is 5 years. Okay, so before we answer any of the questions, we need to get ready few information, right? So the first thing is probably you can calculate the deposit value. Identify first how much down payment been made by Cynthia. Okay, so answer is 20% from the cash price. Okay, so if you simplify, what is the answer you have? 0.2 multiply this. Anybody can give me the answer? Deposit. 8800, sorry, should be 880. So what is the answer? Deposit, how much?
21,760.
21,716. Okay. So it's whole number. Okay, all right, thank you. Okay.
It's
So what's
21,760.
oh 60? Okay.
760.
Okay, 60. Okay. Okay. So this is the deposit that has to be paid by Cynthia to Honda lah. Then the remaining debt, okay, Cynthia is going to borrow money from bank to settle the loan. Okay, so what is the next variable we need to calculate before we can answer the remaining question? So when the question is involved installment purchase, there is one very important variable that we need to identify first, even though the question does not ask us to do so, but we need to get ready the information. So what is the information we need? For higher purchase installment.
Number of years.
Years is 5 years already given. What information we need for answering the remaining questions? What else we need? For higher purchase, okay? What information we need to find out first?
Number of installments.
Number installment is involved 5 years, okay? Yeah, but from this question now until here, the case study, we still don't know how many times the payment will be made. We still don't know. Yeah. Anything else? This is loan question. Loan involve loan also. So what else do? Or financial mathematics, or for the loan question, or for the installment purchase question? What else? If you refer back to your summary, you may find that right. I highlight this using red color. So that means very important. We need to know the principle. That means how much is the original loan? Okay, how much is the principal of the loan? So that we can calculate the S and also the I. Yeah, so important for us to get the P first. Without the P, we cannot get the I, cannot get the S. Yeah, so we need to get ready the principal. So we need this formula. Get ready first. Okay. So principal for this question is equal to cash price. Cash price is 1088,001 minus the deposit is this number, right? Principal, how much? How much is the original loan? The amount of money that had to be borrowed from bank. Can somebody subtract these two numbers and get the value for principal? What is the value? Anybody?
87,040 and 40
40.
87040
40. 8740.
No. 87040.
Is that?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, all right. So this is the principal, yeah? Okay. So once we know the principal, then we can start to answer the question already, all right? Okay, so we'll start from part 1, A, part A. Okay, part A is to calculate, yeah, the total amount of money that needs to be paid to the bank. To the bank, so I highlight this bank, to the bank. So that means it's the total amount of loan, okay? Total amount of loan that had to be paid to the bank at the end of the maturity period. How much had to be paid? So this is referred to the S, okay? To the S, because it's to the bank only. It's not to the Honda company. It's only to the bank, okay? So that means it's calculating the S value, not the higher purchase price. If higher purchase price is for the Honda company, but this one is to the bank only. So that means it's calculate the S. So what is the formula to get the S value? S is equal to P plus I. The principal is from here, substitute to here. I, we need to calculate the value, right? Interest, we need to calculate the value separately. What can we do is we can calculate here. Okay, since we don't have the information, we need to calculate the I. Okay, so we go back to the formula sheet again. So what is the formula to get the I value? Interest charge is how much? What is the formula we have to use? We need to use this one. This one, we use this formula, the blue one. Okay, we use the blue one is because the 3.5% is a simple interest rate. It's a simple interest rate. So we use the formula from this column now. Okay? For this question, we need to use the formula from here because the question is using 3.5% flat rate. Okay, simple interest rate means flat rate. So we have to use the formula from the first column in order to solve the problem. So I, we can calculate first if you want, using the formula of PRT. And we know that P is from here, this number. That's why it's so important. I use red color, very important. Okay, R means the nominal interest rate given. Okay, so in this case here is the simple interest rate. In this case, it's a simple interest rate. It's 3.5% means 0.035. Okay, and then T is always in years unit. That means the loan duration is always in years unit. Okay, so we check from where we can get the information from here, right? 5. So put here 5. Simplify. So this is the interest charge for this loan. So you'll get 15232. So once we know the I value, we can substitute to here. So S is equal to this number in $sign because this is the final answer. Okay, monthly repayment. Monthly repayments means periodic repayment. So from this sentence that we know, the payment will be made every month. Okay, the loan payment will be made every month. So what is the formula? If the question is looking for periodic repayment, then you have to use this formula. S divided by Bn. S is from here. Okay, the maturity value put here. N, what is the meaning? N means a number of times the interest will be paid throughout the loan period. Okay, so for this question, the loss involves 5 years, and then every year have to pay 12 times. 12 times because 1 year has 12 months, monthly basis. So in total, you may find that Cynthia has to make the debt, pay the debt by making 60 repayments. Okay, 60 repayments in order to clear the debts. So N is, in this case, is 60. Okay, substitute to here. Simplify, you get this number. So that means every month, Cynthia has to pay $1,704.53 to the bank for each month. Okay, C is calculate the effective rate of interest. That means that for this question now is, what is the meaning of effective rate here? That is, I assume that now the loan agreement is shortened to only 1 year. Okay, if the loan agreement is 1 year, then what is the real yearly rate? Okay, the real yearly rate is the agreement is shortened to only 1 year for the loan. Okay, and this is the meaning of effective rate. So which formula we have to use? Okay, you see from the formula list, right? We have this effective rate. This is also effective rate, right? So which formula should we use? The blue one or the black one? Blue or black? Blue, right? We have to use the blue one. Why? Because the interest rate calculation for this question is using simple interest rate. This one. Okay, so you have to read the question properly. This one is using simple. So as a result, when we calculate the effective rate, we use this one. Okay, so in the final exam, if the question is using compound interest, then the effective rate you need to use this formula, right? So you have to read the question properly. So for this question, we use this one, right? So R is 0.035, N is 60. Denominator, you have to use 60 plus 1, you get 61. Simplified answer is equal to 0.069. But because for the interest rate, we need to leave the final answer in percentage. So we just multiply this value with 1%, you get 6.9%. Okay. Okay, for this question, I think the students confused about this 2 monthly. What's the meaning? Many students confused. That's why could not answer this question correctly. 2 monthly means every 2 months. Okay. So for this question, the interest is compounded every 2 months. That's the meaning. If every 2 months, then what is the M value? Okay, M is referred to number of times the interest is compounded within a year, right? So in 1 year, how many times of 2 months in a year? 2 months. So 2 months, it can be the first 2 months can be February, right? Followed by April, June, August, October, December. So in 1 year has 6 2 monthly. 6 2 monthly. So M is equal to 6. So for this question, you have to use M is equal to 6. So this is the tricky part. Okay. Others should be okay. Then for this question, it's looking for what? Effective annual rate. So which formula should we use now? If we want to calculate the effective rate, we have to use this one now, because the nominal interest rate is using the compound interest. How do we know it's compound interest? Because of the word here, compound. So in order to get the effective rate, we need to use this formula now to get the effective rate, the black formula. Okay. Any other questions from Financial Mathematics Part 2? Are there any other questions that you'd like to ask? From online test 2. This one is still under test 2, right? Test 2. So we go to test 2 now. So far, so good, Okay. If okay, then probably can discuss one question is on how to form the linear equation. how to form a straight line equation. Okay, so in order to answer this question, we must know the standard format of the linear equation, standard format. So we know that the standard format is this one. This is the standard format, okay, which is y equals mx plus c. Very important. So in order to form this linear equation by using the standard format, you need to know the m, which is the slot of the equation, and also the c, which is the intercept of the equation. M and c, you need to know first. Okay. So in order to get the m value, you need to use this formula, right? So you can use the first point as the x1, y1, second point as the x2, y2. Okay. So for this question, the x and the y value already given to you. Okay, so based on this information, you can get the m. So for this question, m is equal to 6. So once you know m is equal to 6, how can you do is you can substitute m equal to 6 into this equation again. Okay. And for x and y, you can either using this point or using this point. So for my case, I like to use this point because all of the x and y value are positive number. Easy, yeah? So better use this point. This is also okay. I'll use this point. So at this point, I can say that 9, which is the y, is equal to 6 minus multiply with 6. This 6 is m because m is 6. This second 6 is because the value of the x value is equal to 6. Put here. Okay. Then if you simplify, you'll get the c value. Okay, simplify this. So c is equal to negative 27. So once we know the m and also the c value, we can make the conclusion now by substitute the m and also the c value into the standard format of the linear equation. Okay, so this is the final answer. So far so good. I think there's one question is on break even. Okay, break even. Question number 8. All right, question number 8. Okay, I copy this question. Let us analyze the question together. It's about break-even analysis. Okay, by applying the simultaneous equation concept. Okay, so let's analyze together. So a company has a fixed cost of this per month. Okay, so every month this is the fixed cost. That means like the fixed cost will be the same. Every month will be the same. So that means we may find that the fixed cost is a horizontal line. Okay, and the production cost of $5 for each unit of product it manufactures. So what is the meaning? That means this is the variable cost per unit. Okay, for producing 1 unit of product, the variable cost is equal to $5 for 1 unit. Okay. If the selling price of a unit is $11, so that means this is the selling price for 1 unit is equal to this. Okay. So how many units does the company need to manufacture and sell to break even? So in order to answer this question, you need to build the two equations, which are the sales equation and also the expenses equation. Sales is also called as the income equation. Right? If you are not familiar, you just put income. Okay? Or you can just put sales. Both are okay. Income. So remember what is the formula that you can form for income? Income is equal to, what is the formula in order to get income?
Selling price.
Okay, selling price.
Multiple N.
Multiply N, right? So I use I insert this. Okay. Because we already know the selling price per unit, we already know, so we can conclude that I is equal to $11 because n we don't know, so we just put n here to represent quantity sold. Okay, quantity sold. Okay, n means quantity sold. So this is the first equation already have. Okay, second equation is you need to have the expenses equation or as the cost equation. You can either use C or use expenses. Both are accepted. So expenses, there are two costs occur, right? So what are the costs?
Variable cost.
Okay, so it's total. It's better to put total variable cost so that you can remember, right? Total variable cost. Okay, plus another cost.
Fixed cost.
Fixed cost. Fixed cost is always the same. No matter how many quantity you produce, the fixed cost always the same. Okay. So for this case here, we don't know the total variable cost, but we know variable cost per unit. We know, probably we can substitute the value that we know into here, right? Total variable cost.
5n.
So 5n. 5 multiplied n will get the total variable cost. Okay. 1 unit of variable cost is $5. So total variable cost is 5 multiplied n. Fixed cost already given to us 24,000. So substitute here. Yeah. Okay. So we already have two equations. So once you have two equations, then you can solve the n value. Why? Because we know that at the break even, I is always equal to E. Okay, because of this condition, we can conclude that 11n is always equal to this one. Okay. Then you can transpose the formula, move all the n on one island. So I'll move this 5n to the left-hand side. Then simplify this is 6n. Usually for the n, if that is the continuous decimal number, you need to round to the next integer number. Yeah, round up to the next integer number. The n value is a continuous decimal number. We need to round up to the next integer number. Okay, you'll get 4,000, right? 4,000 units. Okay, so that means that in order to get break even, the company must able to produce and sell out all of the 4,000 units in order to cover the cost, so that there is no profit and no loss at all for this production. So the first unit of profit that can be earned by this company is the 4,001. So in order to get profit, right, the company must produce 4,001 units. Okay, if the company only produce 4,000 units, still cannot get profit. Okay, still cannot get profit. It's still zero profit, but zero loss. Okay, so in order to get profit, the company must produce more than 4,000 units of products. Okay, so we already done the discussion for all the chapters except metrics. Metrics. Okay, metrics. What are the section that you need to know? Okay, so for metrics, you must know how to sum up the two matrices. Okay, we can only sum up the two matrices when both matrices have similar number of columns and number of rows. Very important. Number of rows and number of columns. Then we can sum up. Like for this C, the arrow is 2 multiplied 2. Two rows and two columns. Same, right? Same 2 rows and 2 columns. Then we can sum up C and D matrices. Similarly, also, if you want to subtract the two matrices, also make sure that the number of rows and also number of columns for both matrices must be the same. Otherwise, we cannot combine. Okay, these two matrices. Okay, next one is involve multiplication activity. Multiply these two matrices. Okay, so for this side, I can make sure that the number of we call it the number of column in the first matrix must be equal to the number of row in the second matrix, right? In order to multiply these two matrices. If both matrices have similar number of rows and number of columns, you may find that the total, okay, the result that we get will be 2 columns and also 2 rows. That'll be the result. Okay, and then lastly is the inverse matrix. Inverse matrix, you need to know the formula. Yeah, formula is equal to 1 divided by determinant. Okay, determinant of matrix D. So this part is called as determinant of matrix D. So how to get the determinant value? You need to use the A value multiply with the D. This is the D value. A multiply D minus B multiply C. Okay. So in order to get the determinant. Then multiply with what? For this part, we need to change the location of A and D. We need to change the location. Change the location. Sign is still the same. So -5 you put here. 2 we put to this corner, right? Then we need to change the sign for B and C. B we need to put negative sign. Okay. For positive have to change the negative sign. And this one, the nature of C is already 0, so just put it there. Yeah? It's -0, so it becomes negative. It's 0 as well. Right? So once we have done this adjustment, you have to multiply in this number. This is called the scalar number. Multiply in to each A, B, C, D, in order to get the value. Okay? So these are the concepts that you need to know for matrix chapter. Okay. So, okay, we already done the revision, and today is the last class. If you got any problem, you still can email me from time to time before the final assessment. Okay. All right. So now it's already about 3:30. 3:30. Okay. Any other questions that you want me to go through?
No questions.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I think it's Bayan. Bayan. Today, okay, we have how many students? Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 students attending the class. Okay, I will stop recording now. Since no question, I'll stop recording, and then later on I'm going to pause the recording on the Canvas side. All right.